Hello, welcome to InfoHub. In our headlines, Prime Minister says that broadcast bill amendments necessary. Indigenous leaders raise security concerns at NTC conference. Security companies warn to obey labor laws. Bean Hill Institute to get a new female dormitory, and diabetic youths are on a 3-day camp. Stay tuned for the details of these and more.
Daddy!
Now for the details. Two shows at the NTC conference were briefed on the importance of being financially accountable. Gabriela Patram tells us more.
Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs Accountant Lisa Thakardin today stressed the importance of being financially accountable. Thakardin highlighted that on many occasions, village councillors lack accountability when conducting transactions.
It is expected that all village councils adhere to the financial rules and regulations, and they should be guided by the Amerindian Act No. 6 of 2006, Part 3, which is governance. The ministry imploring all village councils to ensure that their bank accounts are operational and that various registers be maintained and up to date.
It was explained that bookkeeping is an essential part of financial management and accountability.
A good bookkeeping system makes it possible for a village council to be financially accountable to all its important stakeholders. When financial rules and regulations are not adhered to, this causes the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs to be held accountable, since he is the accounting officer.
Indigenous leaders were urged to place a greater interest in record keeping and for the monies granted to them by the ministry. Gabrielle Patram for InfoHub.
Security topped the list of Indigenous leaders' concerns at the NTC conference last evening. Zanil Williams has this report.
Tushaus in Regions 8 and 9 called on the Minister of Public Security, Kemraj Ramchatan, to strengthen Guyana's borders so as to reduce the transit of illicit drugs and illegal travel. Minister Ramchatan explained that protecting the borders is a difficult task for security forces due to a variety of reasons. He said that community intelligence is important to ensure that illegal activities are identified and prevented.
It's going to always be a difficulty. Our borders are extremely long. That one on the western front is over 700-800 miles or more. And it's not going to be easy. It is tough terrain. And it is jungle in the lots of parts, and then of course savanna areas in some parts down Rupununi area. But our borders are going to be open, and until such time as we have the necessary capital and the financing and of course the money to buy the equipment and all of that, it's going to be really, really difficult. We might be seeing and being on the cusp of a new transformation with an oil sector, which we can have some revenues from. That will help. But we, at this stage, will do our best. And even if we got to use horses, and we have a mounted branch unit in that Rupununi area and the Letem area that are being used for purposes of, as best as possible, help in controlling our borders, we will have to use them.
Indigenous leaders also implored Minister Ramchatan to hold more gun amnesties so that more Amerindians have the opportunity to register their firearms legally. Minister Ramchatan assured that his ministry will try to ensure that registration and licensing of firearms for Indigenous is completed by the end of the year.
Members who would have sent in their arms, their guns during that amnesty period, indeed, the decision was made to hand you those back, but you have to get yourself regularized to the extent of getting the firearms license, and so your names will be on the register, the national register. And secondly, almost all of you who had those arms that you granted back to the police custody, they didn't have a serial number, and we have to attach a serial number to those firearms. that will be consistent with your firearm license.
Several requests were made to the Minister of Citizenship, Winston Felix, for increased presence in hinterland communities to facilitate the registration of births, deaths, and marriages. The minister committed to increase outreach services to hinterland communities in addition to those already planned. Zanil Williams for InfoHub.
A $36 million contract was signed on Wednesday between the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs and BK International Incorporated for the construction of a new female dormitory at the Bean Hill Institute. Delicia Haynes has more.
The dormitory in Anai, Region 9, will accommodate 40 female students from surrounding communities. Minister of Indigenous Peoples Affairs Sidney Alicock said the move is in keeping with the government's commitment of ensuring that every Guyanese child has access to an education.
If we are to have economic independence, we need to have a qualified group of workers. And to have a qualified group of workers, we need the institutions that will allow us to get there.
The minister described the dorm's construction as the start of efforts to provide better facilities for young people, enabling them to make meaningful contributions. Bean Hill Institute tutor Gloria Duarte said that she is thankful that the institution is finally being upgraded.
We are so happy that the government had considered this project and award the project to Bean Hill Institute because so that the students here will be more comfortable and it will be more easier for the manager in charge to manage the dorms.
Construction of the dormitory is slated to commence within the next 2 weeks. Esau Samad, accountant at BK International Incorporated, assured that quality work will be provided and locals will be employed. For InfoHub, Delicia Haynes.
Guyana's art exhibition was the largest at CariFesta 13. Lenta LaFleur is in Barbados with this report.
CariFesta 13, Barbados.
Visual art takes many forms in Guyana, but its dominant themes are indigenous, the ethnic diversity of the population, and the natural environment. Guyana's art on display at CariFesta 13 brings to life our rich culture. Art portrays various ideas and feelings such as triumph, love, happiness, and sorrow. During man's evolution, art has progressed and modernized today. Curator at the National Art Gallery, Ohini Kom, said Guyana has 33 art pieces on display at CariFesta 13, which is the largest in the Caribbean.
This CariFesta is actually a platform for us to meet and network with other curators, other artists in the region. There are lots of issues that artists share commonly from many countries. And so being here at CariFesta, right, we're able to network.
Prominent artist Winslow Craig has crafted most of the art pieces on display. He noted that his themes vary from the family to man's strengths.
You have work from as early as 1990. I left art school in 1989 to 2017. So I saw a wide range of themes, subject matter, medium, technique, all sorts of stuff that I would have encountered and experimented with and explored over the years and perfected in my own way.
The team's youngest member, Lauren Gulliver, is an artist and photographer. Lauren said during her youth she struggled with self-esteem and self-acceptance. Therefore, in her art pieces, she uses sculpture to bring out self-acceptance.
My pieces are part of a series that I did called Afrocentric. It actually shows how a person used the African culture to form the self-identity, as that the way we look, the way we dress, the way we act, and also our values and beliefs.
CariFesta 13, Barbados.
Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu says the passing of the Broadcast Amendment is necessary to cap the limitless clauses. Here is Neil Williams once more.
The Prime Minister, as a special guest on VOG's Let's Gaff radio program, defended the government's move to amend the Broadcasting Act of 2011.
The law as was said that you shall give a certain percentage of broadcast time to the government for public service broadcasting, what they used to call development support communication. And I said, no, you don't need to have a certain percentage. You have to cap it. Say for sure, I'm a lawyer. One of the first things you learn in law school as a lawyer, that a law must not be uncertain. Any elementary student of the law would know that. And I hold the former attorneys general accountable for a law that was vague, amorphous, and open-ended.
Prime Minister Nagamutu added that the bill seeks to bring control to the local broadcasting landscape.
Because of the nature of broadcasting, that it enters your sitting room without you having the ability to control it. You have to be able to do content control. You can't have in your sitting room, Judy, your child sitting with you there and it has pornography being shown. No, you have to, some law has to be made to ensure that pornography is not acceptable as part of your broadcasting right.
On Friday, August 4th, 2017, the Broadcasting Amendment Bill was passed in the National Assembly. It has to be assented to by President Granger before becoming a law.
The question is that do we need a modern law to govern the broadcasting landscape in Guyana? And no one would say no. You absolutely need to have that.
Zenil Williams for InfoHub.
The Ministry of Social Protection is warning private security companies to obey labor laws or face penalties. Crystal Stull has this report.
Minister Keith Scott urged private security companies which are not functioning in their employees' best interest to obey laws and regulations. The minister, who was responsible for labor, issued his call this morning at a seminar for private security services providers at his Brickdam, Georgetown office.
We at the Ministry of Social Protection are inclined to believe that while other nation states may have made much progress, Guyana is at a virtual standstill, if not in a state of retrogression, in respect of the subject under focus, specifically this subject. Such a situation must be reversed if we are to approach our mandate of national development with the seriousness it deserves.
In spite of the national minimum wage order, Scott revealed there are still companies breaching the labor laws.
Since 2013, the national minimum wage order established a 40-hour week, with those hours to be distributed over 5 days. But there are some employers, inclusive of service providers, who have adopted a 6-day week, encompassing more than 40 hours, and still refuse to pay overtime wages. I don't believe that I have to tell you such practices are prohibited and must cease forthwith.
He confirmed reports of service providers employing persons who are negligent and are unsuitable to enter into legally binding contracts.
We are in a position to tell you directly because they come to our night shelter and recruit people. So we're not just guessing, we're talking for what we are in a position to tell you with authority that there are security services who go there and recruit people.
The event also featured presentations on the security services within the realms of national development, the role in the economy, the impact on single mothers and the elderly, to name a few. Crystal Stull for InfoHub.
Thanks for watching. Connect with us 24/7 on our website and social media. Goodbye now.